Today I'm joined by Karen Abou Jaoude. Karen, welcome.
I've never met an uncool Luca.
Thank you so much. Hopefully by the end of this episode you'll still be saying the same thing.
No, because you're such a Buddha.
You're worse than your mother. Everyone is constantly thinking about how do they get better as a parent.
There are qualities that make you a good parent. A parent who is present, that makes a great parent. Yes, boundaries make a great parent.
So are we already better parents than our parents were?
I think we are better parents because we have access to more information.
What is your message to people who are scared or do not want to bring children to this world?
It shows a level of honor to this life that you're considering to choose to come into this world. Oh, I'm going to be sad that this conversation is over. Parenting.
By the way, we can speak again. It doesn't happen.
We're never going to speak again.
This is it. One and done. Today's guest is Karen Abou Jaoude. Karen is the co-founder of The Wise Parent, a business aimed at coaching and empowering parents to raise confident and thriving children. In a twist, they actually focus on helping the parents break their own intergenerational parenting habits, the things that they were taught, making sure that the parents of today are fully aligned with their own values. In another strange twist, Karen is actually the daughter of a previous guest on the show, Tetahila Zaina. I guess it runs in the family. If you're looking for insights into becoming a more effective and anchored parent with a bit of a parenting reset, this is one episode you don't want to miss.
Sarah and we co-founded The Wise Parent, which is a parent education and coaching platform and service. Our goal is to really support parents, families, and essentially their children to create a happy, thriving environment. And we do that through our one-to-one sessions, but most importantly, we actually wrote and curated our own program called The Parenting Blueprint. Raising culturally aware kids is a difficult job as a third culture parent because you're trying to hold on to something of value. You will never be more grateful for your mother until you become a mother. When you start doing the work and you just realize how much they did for you.
Karen, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Karen, it's wonderful to have you, but you're 8 months pregnant.
I am very pregnant, yes.
You're the first person I've had who's been pregnant on the show that I'm aware of, at least, right? So 8 months. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling?
Heavy and excited to meet this little human.
And you're having a boy, right?
I'm having a boy, yeah. I have a 5.5-year-old.
Beautiful.
And now having a boy, one of each. It's going to be fun.
Amazing. Have you decided on a name?
Well, it was really hard to get my husband to agree on anything that I like. He hated everything except for Ryan. So right now he's Ryan.
That's the front runner. Okay.
That's the front runner. But my daughter Chloe was Raya for like 9 months up until the last week. And then we decided to change her name.
And then just flipped it.
Just flipped it.
So what are the chances of that being baby Luca inside?
We love the name Luca, but our nephew is called Luca.
It's okay. You can always have more than one Luca. It's
Lucas
fine.
are great. I've never met an uncool Luca.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll still be saying the same thing. I'm delighted to be having you, Karen. And it's weird because we're here to talk about parenting, right? Mm-hmm. And I had your parents sitting in that chair a few weeks ago. So it's a bit of a family affair today, right? And as we were walking in, you glanced and you noticed that there's your mum's mug sitting on the mantelpiece. Did it feel a bit weird seeing that?
You know what? Not really, because I mean, I've worked with my mom. I'm one of her clients as well.
Yeah.
And our works has been overlapping actually. So some of her clients will ask for, parenting advice, and she'll suggest, both Sarah and I. And then when we have clients that really want to work on themselves, on their subconscious, and really dig deeper, we suggest Zaina, my mom. I don't say we don't. I suggest mom all the time.
How does she feel about you calling her Zaina to other people? She's okay with it?
I think, we're both okay with it. It's just in that professional regard, but she'll always be my mama.
It's so weird seeing you here, knowing that your mum was obviously sitting in the same chair, and I know your dad very well as well. So I really do feel like I'm somehow part of the family. So it's just really ironic that we're here to talk about parenting. But before we talk about any of that kind of stuff, and of course you're pregnant, talk to me about your mug that you brought in today.
Okay, so my mug. I came prepared, Luca,
You did.
to say goodbye.
You did. Ah, you're ready to say
I'm
goodbye.
ready to say goodbye.
Look at that. I love it. Psychologically, you've been building yourself up to this moment.
Yeah, when I was stalking your interviews, I was like, oh my God, he makes us bring our favorite mugs and then he takes it away from us. But I'm ready because this mug, it's really, really big. I actually rarely ever finish a coffee in it, but I always like drinking my coffee in it because there's always plenty left over. And it reminds me to continue to be grateful because as much as you take, there will always be plenty. So every time I have my coffee in the morning or my tea or whatever, there's always plenty. So that's why I'm okay giving it away because there will always be plenty.
Look, that's a very nice insight. A lot of abundance in that. But I also think there's another story. I think you knew that I was going to take that cup. So you gave me either your husband's or someone else's.
I found this actually right outside.
Karen, I'm on to you, man. I'm on to you. You get that from your dad. It's really nice to have you on the show. And look, we are here to talk about parenting.
Yeah.
It's a hot topic these days, right? Everyone is constantly thinking about how do they get better as a parent and how do they improve and how do they make sure that they do not sort of pass on the same stuff that they were having to deal with as a kid themselves. And that's one of the core things that you teach, right? The Wise Parent, which you set up with your partner, was 2-3 years back. Yeah. So what are the fundamentals of the Wise Parent and what you guys teach and practice and coach?
So both Sarah and I are really, really big believers in the foundation of parenting being the parent themselves. So while you think you're coming in for this issue with your child's behavior, a lot of it is actually rooted in yourself, how you were raised, what triggers you have, what buttons exist already within you. The first layer that Sarah and I always dig into is you. How do we reparent you? That's one of the key things that makes a quote-unquote better parent. And I think that there's a big awareness or big movement in this parenting world is because there's more of this awareness of mental health, seeking support, working on yourself, going to therapy, doing theta healing, whatever it may be. And the more that we are conscious of the wounds or the things that we're trying to heal, the more that we're aware that this actually started from our childhood. The more you're aware that it started from your childhood, the more likely you are to safeguard your own kids from those traumas or those incidents that affected or impacted you. So I think when it comes to parenting, the first thing that we always look at the Wise Parent, both Sarah and I, is you. And then we move through, we move to working on the child's behavior, working on strategies and tips so that this new method that you're adopting is conducive or makes sense to this cycle that you're trying to break from your past. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, makes a lot of sense. So just from a personal perspective, you work alongside your mum in some way, right? When it comes to the same types of clients that you deal with. Is it a weird thing for you, and maybe more so for your mum, Zaina, the fact that you are helping others get over their own childhood trauma? Does your mum ever think like, what did she do to you or anything like that? Does it ever get a little bit personal?
Well, we rarely have clients that overlap, but when we do, it's just a handful. My mom has worked on me as in her profession. So my mom has worked on me in her style or her profession as a theta healer. And yeah, there's a lot of things that come up from her, like what my issues with my mother or the issues with my father. But the great thing about my mom, and I'm lucky, I really, really think I'm one of the luckiest, is that she's worked on herself enough to not blame or guilt herself. She knows that at that time, with whatever resources she had, she did the best that she could. And now, with the resources she has, she's still doing the best that she can by working on me.
Yeah. No, it's
and
beautiful.
Vice versa.
Did she ever at any point start to question her parenting and some of the traumas that you went through?
As a kid? Well, when we have conversations now about it, she does have a few I wish moments.
Yeah.
I wish I knew better. I wish I was there for you more. I wish I knew that about you. And a lot of the times it's, I wish you spoke up about it.
Some of the thoughts that other people would have why people get into this. Why did Sarah get into becoming, co-founders of a business that helps parents? Could be because you thought you didn't have the best childhood yourself. Was that the case, or was that something that you've had this interest from somewhere, you've sort of developed it, you've nurtured it, or was it created from your own childhood issues?
That's a great question. From Sarah, my partner, Sarah's previous, her past life, her previous job, she used to work with the UN or other government entities or nonprofits to develop programs for conflict areas. Okay. So she had seen how trauma impacts the family system. And when we got to know each other, that's how we, got married business-wise. Yeah. For me, I was working on myself and realized that a lot of these issues started coming up from my early years. So yes, it was, how can I protect my kids or support other parents to better the future generation by kind of preventing these things in the beginning. Yeah. My interest, my passion in the subject came alive, throughout the speckles of like my career search. It was, to me at the time, it was just an interest or a hobby. Psychology, neuroscience, the family system, child psychology. I didn't know at the time that it was actually something that I could pursue. I just thought it was a deep passion. Okay. Combine that with, wanting to break those old patterns or support other people, then it was born.
Before I go any deeper, because I've got a couple of deep questions lined up.
Oh, no.
In my head, just based on what you've just said, what's your safe word?
My safe word is beetroot.
Why beetroot?
Because when I was trying to think of a safe word, I was like, oh, fruit is usually a safe word, like watermelon. And so my husband was like, what's the most random fruit or vegetable? I was like, a beetroot. He's like, that's your safe word.
Do you like beetroot?
Sometimes. Okay. Yeah, it's not like something I'll be like, has to be in my fridge.
It's very good for you, beetroot.
It is.
It's very good. My son Matthew loves beetroot.
Really?
Yeah, he's obsessed with it. Every time we go somewhere, he's like, I want beetroot. I'm like, this is so strange.
Really? How specific?
He must get it from his mother. Yeah, strange taste. So look, you, on a serious note, you mentioned Sarah, your business partner, your married partner from a business perspective, that she specializes in sort of childhood trauma or has an interest in that. There's been a lot of documents and sort of interviews coming out recently out of Gaza about the children that who haven't been killed, but who are going through unspeakable acts of trauma, effectively, from such an early age. How difficult will it be for kids who have experienced that level of trauma to ever really recover?
This is such a heavy question. To ever really recover is a difficult combination of words. Because I do believe in valuing these kids' experiences, to honor the difficulty that they went through, but also not disregard the possibility that they can come out or recover from it. Trauma is like a scar. You might not have that gash or that wound that's open, but there is tissue that builds over it and it will remind you of it. These kids have gone through unspeakable horrors, and it's very, very, very difficult to get through it without the proper support and education and therapy. And often these kids have to go through life without this. There's a big movement in the psychology field, in any type of therapy that is looking to support these kids, but it's also very difficult to access them. The kids that did manage to escape to Egypt or other areas have been, there are organizations that contact them to support them. However, this type of trauma is just, the scar it doesn't even come close to the experience, this inhumane experience that they went through. How hard is it for them to get over it or to get through it?
Can they ever get over it?
It depends on the help that they get, and it depends on the person, it depends on their environment, it depends on so many factors, Luca, that it's very hard to say with complete certainty that they will or that they won't.
For the rest of us who have never experienced that kind of pain, suffering, and trauma, you sort of in your program, you sort of called it sort of it's like a 10-week course or 10-session course. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a 10-week program.
It's sort of the parenting reset. For people who have gone through that though, from contextualize it for me, how long could it potentially take for them to sort of overcome those kind of traumas?
Traumas are individualistic in their experience, in the way that they mark or stay with someone. So our 10-week program isn't to say that it's going to take you 10 weeks to heal something. No. Our program is designed in a 10-week phase to get you through the ground up of parenting. Trauma is something that you will continue to work on until you feel comfortable enough with that aspect or that part of you. It's not something we specialize in the program at all, because trauma is a specialty in and of itself.
I see.
And that's not something that neither Sarah or I claim ownership to.
Yeah.
Neither of us are specialized trauma therapists at all.
Okay, but you're qualified in other areas.
Yes.
Namely, sort of breaking those intergenerational issues.
Yes.
Right. Really sort of macro question.
Yeah.
Because we'll start up and hopefully with these bad boys, we'll get into it. What makes a good parent?
Oh my gosh. Another question.
Because we all have a theory, right? We all think, okay, take a little bit from my mom or a little bit from my dad and what they applied to me, that kind of worked. See what other parents are doing and maybe sort of take some from them. But what does that all mean? And how do you know you're a good parent?
Do you feel like a good parent?
I feel like I can always be a better parent.
Okay.
And I think that's true for most people.
Yeah.
But if I was going to score myself, I'd give myself a passing grade.
Okay. Why do you pass? What gives you that passing grade? What are the bullet point things?
So I think that with my kids, I'll say how I am. I try and be present with them when I'm playing with them.
Okay.
So I may not play with them for a long time, but for those 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm really invested. So I'm present in the moment when I'm with them.
Okay.
I do set boundaries.
Okay.
We do have certain things that we implement in the house, and they tend to work. So we've created the naughty step tend to be our clear way of trying to help discipline both our kids.
Yeah.
If they do something wrong, if they are acting out, we give them basically effectively a timeout where we put them on the naughty step. They calm down, they stop crying.
Okay.
And then we talk to them and they sort of say sorry and then they go back to doing whatever they're doing. And that's become the most effective way. We have two other levels above that, but it's only happened once that they've gone above the naughty step. So there is some discipline in the house.
Okay.
And I think we're very good with routine. So shower time, dinner time, sleeping time, it's quite regimented.
So presence, boundaries, routine.
Yeah, those are the first thing, three things came to my mind.
Okay.
They're good kids, man. You should meet them. Beautiful.
I would love to meet them.
They're good boys.
Yeah.
They're good. And everyone always says they're really well behaved. So I think that's the boarding school in me.
It's a boarding school.
Yeah, I went to boarding school at a young age. So I had that kind of level of discipline.
Yeah. So you had to be, you had to follow the rules.
Yeah. You had that. And there were consequences if you didn't.
Interesting. What were those consequences?
Oh,
was it
that's a
the
whole
level
other show.
2 and 3
that's
of
a whole,
the,
no,
of the
I mean,
stool?
What I've been doing to my boys is nothing to what I had. So I hope I'm already starting to break some of those intergenerational.
Boarding school is rough.
It is, man. I was 6 when I went to boarding school.
That's very young.
I left home at 6.
And you stayed there the whole time.
I left home. I never lived with my parents after 6.
So then would you say that impacted your, let's say from a parenting perspective, your view on discipline, punishments, or good behavior, bad behavior? Like how did that impact you?
Not really, because my parents weren't there, so I couldn't learn from my parents on that aspect. Or at least I don't remember.
From the other adults.
Yeah, I would learn from the teachers, or
Right.
I'd learn, so it was slightly different. But I was a pretty well-behaved kid, but I think boarding school really does help condition you. It really does. It's a bit like, it's not military, but it organizes you to sort of behave in a certain way, to conform and to sort of follow the rules.
Interesting.
And it's only later in life where you have a personality, but it's only until later when you start asking the questions and look inside who you really are, start to understand, actually, I've kind of been on autopilot for quite some time.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent, I know why my parents sent me to boarding school. They were living in Nigeria at the time, and schooling, it wasn't a good schooling system. It was very dangerous in the 80s as well. So full understanding and acceptance of that. And I'm not in that same situation. Dubai is a different place. So I don't need, I know I can already break that first thing of sort of sending my kids away. But to ask you back, because I know what you've done here the last 5 minutes is turning on me, what in your mind makes a good parent?
Well, the reason I asked you is because each person's definition is different. Yours was presence or connection, boundaries. All of those things are great and important, but each person's definition of being a good parent differs based on your past, based on your partner, based on your values. So for me, I can't point and say, this is what makes you a good parent. There are qualities that make you a good parent. The first thing you mentioned in that conversation was you know that you could be a better parent. I think that makes a great parent, is knowing that you're always striving to do better or be better because you owe it to yourself and your kids. That makes a great parent. A parent who is present, that makes a great parent. Yes, boundaries make a great parent. There are other things. A parent who invests in understanding themselves and working on themselves or understanding their kids. A parent who's learning about their emotions. We didn't get that when we were kids. There was no time for emotions. So there's so many things that make a good parent. It's going to be so different for you and me and everyone else. And it changes as time evolves. Yeah. For example, when you have a newborn, when you have babies at home, what makes a good parent is they're alive. You kept them alive. You did a good job.
We had 2 under 2, so I can relate. Yeah, I can relate to that.
2 under 2, and probably in COVID. Was it during COVID?
So Matthew was definitely a COVID baby. It was 2021.
That's tough.
Yeah, it was tough. Oliver was kind of just coming out of it.
Yeah.
Are we with every generation that passes, we're getting more informed and more aware. Are we becoming better parents because of that? So are we already better parents than our parents were?
I think yes and no. Yes, because it's great to have information, and no, because there's also this information overload where people feel like they have to question every single thing that they're doing all the time. Can I say no to my kid? What happens if I do this? What if I want to set a boundary, but I need to validate? And there's just so much information that it can be confusing. And it creates anxiety. It creates, this doubt in yourself, which is, it's normal when you're so overloaded with so much data and information. And yes, also I think we are better parents because we have access to more information. There is more information on the neuropsychology, on the brain, on how we develop than ever before. And that has impacted the way that we parent massively.
Yeah.
So yes and no.
But there are a lot of people who are worried about bringing kids into this world.
Yeah.
Maybe because the circumstances of what's going on in the world. It's not the best place right now, generally speaking. You could argue that the world has never been more divided than it has right now.
Yeah.
There are others that would say, I don't want to bring in a child into this world because of their own traumas that they've been through, their own issues, and they don't want to sort of pass that on to someone else. Like, what is your message to people who are scared or do not want to bring children to this world?
I respect that very much. And let me tell you why. When people are questioning whether it's the right time for them to bring a child into this world, it shows a level of honor to this life that you're considering to choose to come into this world. Kids aren't supposed to be the reason things are fixed or changed or healed or resolved. They are a responsibility. And the more you think about how heavy that decision is, you're choosing that this child is going to be born into my life, into this world, into this environment, into my capacity and mental state right now. I respect people who actually think about it. Now, there's a difference between assessing whether or not it's the time for a kid and the fear. If there's a fear voice there, like, am I ready? If there's a lot of that anxiousness, then I would advise for someone to go see why. What's the anxiousness there? There's probably something from your past, or but try and distinguish the voice. Is it that logical prefrontal cortex that's actually thinking about the pros and cons of this situation? Or is it the highly emotional, very scared, traumatized part of you, anxious part of you that's really holding you back? So just try and distinguish those voices to figure out, is this a healthy debate, or is this the fear voice debate?
Yeah, nice. Is there any correlation between the number of kids a parent has and whether or not that will determine if they're a good parent?
I have no idea.
Like, for example, if you have one kid,
Yeah.
right, logically, you can spend much more time investing into that child.
Right, okay, I
But
see.
that could be good or bad.
Right.
Right? You could overdo it with the kid and
True.
they become... And then if someone has like 4 or 5 kids, I know someone who has 5 kids recently, my age, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Do you have enough time to invest in those 5 for them to develop in a strong, nurtured, confident manner?
I would actually love to dig out some research and see if there's anything that actually scientifically connects these.
Yeah.
I get the aspect of both. Like, yeah, one kid, you have more time, you have more patience, you're just managing one child, and you can end up helicopter parenting.
Yeah.
With 5, it could be difficult because you have to split your time. But this is dependent on the type of kid and the type of parent.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a household of 4. 3 of us, so my sisters and I were very close in age, and then my brother came 6 years after my youngest sister. We all share very similar moments and memories, right? So when I say it depends on the kid, the moments where my parents were present, I loved them. But my older sister, for example, may have interpreted it as they're so overly involved. They didn't give us enough space. So it really depends on the kid. It depends on the parent. How much capacity does the parent have? How much can they be involved? How much can they correct and redirect behavior and connect? How much does the child want or need?
Yeah.
So I would love to see if there's anything.
Yeah. I was wondering if there's a sweet spot between the number of kids and the profile of kids as well. So if you're a parent, I've got 2 boys. I don't know if we're ever going to have a third boy or a girl. So let's say the dynamic is 2 boys.
Yeah.
Would they adopt a different approach had I had, for example, 2 girls instead of 2 boys? Would I become a different type of parent? And for parents who have 1 of each, are they different to those that have single sex kids? Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah. So
Will we change as a parent based on the kid's profile and the number that we have?
I think on some level you should. Not completely, but for example, this means that you need to be more attuned to your kid's temperament. Like, you have 2 boys. Let's just simplify it. You have 2 boys. How similar are they? Or how different are they?
So it's weird because Ollie right now, he just copies Matthew with everything. Ollie's 2, Matthew's 3.
Okay.
So if Matthew gets up, starts jumping, Ollie will get up and start jumping.
Okay.
Literally copycat.
Okay.
Whatever Matthew says, Ollie says it. But they do have differences in terms of their personality type.
How about their temperament? Like, is
Yeah.
one more extroverted, one more introverted?
Yeah, Ollie's definitely more extroverted.
Okay.
Matthew's more introverted.
With the introvert, how would you approach a social situation versus your extroverted child?
Man, you're putting me on the spot here.
But
Yeah, so I'll give you a real life example. We have guests in the house where we're sitting right now. Okay, guests will come to the house. The kids will be upstairs. They'll come down. Ollie will be like, "Hi everybody, hi." Matthew will just run straight to his mum, put his head in her lap,
Yeah.
and not kind of want to speak to anybody.
Okay.
So we then try and encourage Matthew to. It's okay, buddy. Come say hello. You know this person, or you know this
Right.
person. I feel like we put too much pressure on him to sort of perform in a way, and that doesn't help. That sort of performance anxiety. But with Ollie, we kind of want to make him chill out because it doesn't make his brother look so good.
So then the method.
It's a weird dynamic. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
one
yeah.
is super extroverted, one is super introverted.
So your method. So in that same situation,
Yeah, help me,
the way
please.
that you parent
Help
is
me.
very different, right?
Yeah.
Because you're attuned to one extrovert who's like, wah, and the other one who is slower to warm. So the way that you approach your kids is going to be very different depending on their temperament. That doesn't mean the whole parenting approach that you take, the values that you and your partner agree on are going to change. but it's just the method.
So what should I do in that moment, Karen? Coach me.
With your...
With both. With the guy who's got his head in his mother's lap, and my other son who's like parading himself around like some sort of flamboyant peacock.
So what's your goal, let's say, with the introvert?
To give him more confidence with people.
Confidence. And what is confidence actually for you? What does that mean? What does that look like?
To be able to socially interact.
Okay.
And show his best self.
And for someone who is socially interactive and show their best self, what do they have inside of them?
God, I'm feeling so cross-examined right now.
No, it's just purely...
You're worse than your mother.
Am I? Ha ha ha.
I don't know what the right answer is. I generally don't.
For me, when you... Well, this is the type of question you can ask yourself. Well, what does a confident kid need? They need to feel comfortable with themselves and understand who they are and have this voice that's like, this is me and I feel good about it, right? Confidence is an internal thing. It's not an external thing. So Matthew, if you want to build confidence, it's the voice in his head that's certain of himself. So in those situations, you think it's about getting him comfortable with other people. But what you need to work on as a parent is outside of those moments. You need to start being the narrator, the voice that becomes his subconscious mind. So when he has his head in mom's lap, or when he's doing something a little more introverted, let's say, you would say things like, you like to take your time to trust people. He doesn't jump into something. That takes confidence to be an observer. To not follow his brother that he typically copies.
No, it's the other way around. Usually Ollie will copy Matthew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then to make that decision to be an observer, that's brave, that's confident. To not jump into something, that's brave. That's something you want when he's a teenager.
Yeah, he's super smart. He's a super smart kid.
So when you start narrating who he is, you know exactly what makes you feel comfortable, don't you? You take your time sometimes, and that's okay. And when you're confident in him and you support that part of him, his voice is going to change. Whereas if you have the voice of, come on, don't be shy, but he's like, but something doesn't feel right for me. And mom and dad are telling me not to feel shy, but I'm not ready yet. He has that second guessing. That doesn't mean you're messing him up. That just means that the confidence, so your goal, your objective, is not being targeted. You're missing the mark. So if there's ever a behavior, you look at what is it that I actually want to accomplish with my kid? What do I want to scaffold? Confidence. What are they capable of? And what's developmentally appropriate? He's still 3, right? Yeah. Okay. So you have to build that voice in his head that builds his internal confidence of who he is. I'm right here with you. Whenever you're ready and you want to say hi, I'll be next to you. And then later, because I know sometimes culturally there's like الواجبات, the must-dos, like you must say hi to the elders. That'll come with practice. My daughter was exactly like that. And now as a 5-year-old, she has to say hello to people, even if it makes her slightly uncomfortable. But it came with that inner voice of, exactly what makes you feel good. You know what doesn't make you feel good. Yeah.
Inshallah, baby Luca as well.
Baby Luca.
We'll be like that. Right, we're ready for the nitty-gritty of the show, which I like to say, which is you take charge. 8 questions in here.
Okay.
Go for it, Karen. The show is yours. Hi, everyone. I really hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Throughout my career, I've met a lot of people that have anxiety when it comes to public speaking. If you're someone that has that anxiety or nervousness and has always wanted to be more confident in public speaking, but you're also not sure where to go or how to start, the good news is I might be able to help. I have 20 years experience working in corporate communication. I'm a former regional CEO and I've helped to win over 80 different clients through new business pitches. With so many online trainings based on theory, I wanted to share what's helped me in the business world. I've launched my own training program called Master Pitch. The 7-module course covers everything you need to know, whether it's learning how to really understand the audience, how to deliver real impact, or how to effectively storytell, I've got it covered. With practical tips and real examples, you can immediately start turning that anxiety into confidence. Also, in a world of AI, there's never been a more important time to invest in your personal brand and in developing your public speaking. For more information, go to lucaallam.com or drop me an email at info@lucaallam.com. Right, let's get back to the episode.
What's harder, to discipline the discipline or to have the discipline to let go?
What's harder, to discipline the discipline, to keep doing the same thing, to have the discipline to keep doing the same thing, or having the discipline to let go of certain things?
For me, it's the discipline to discipline. That's harder. It's
To keep
easier
going.
for me to let go. I'm having like a moment.
Flashback?
Yeah, this is actually from my childhood. This was my coping mechanism, is to detach and to let go. With whatever used to come up, my sisters used to be the discipline to discipline. And I was like, oh, that's not safe. I have to let go, because if I discipline to discipline, or if I fight the bear, then I'm screwed. So my coping mechanism is to let go. And when I read this, that was the first thing. It was like, let go, let go.
Yeah. So what's harder for you is to discipline the discipline.
Yeah.
It's just much easier to let go. So
Yeah.
where does that come from?
It comes from understanding now as an adult that I have a certain capacity to push for something. And when it doesn't work, if it doesn't work, it's okay to try something new.
Yeah.
I like trying new things. Like, there's always a new page in my life. There's always something new. And to do that, I have to be better at letting go and not holding on to the result, so that I can actually pursue this new thing, like my new career in the last 4 years.
Yeah. When it comes to kids, so to keep trying to discipline your children in a certain way, and there's also opportunity where it's like it's not working, or you feel like you're hurting them, so you'll let go of that. But what is actually the harder thing to do when it comes to now parenting your kids? Because I'll give you an example. It's really asking about good cop, bad cop kind of thing in a way, right? So I love to discipline, and I love to discipline to discipline, okay? Rasha is more, she likes discipline, but she will not discipline if she feels the kid is becoming too impacted or too hurt by it in some way as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want to see it through to the end.
Okay.
Sometimes she doesn't want, because she's a mum, maybe, and it's a boy.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a different dynamic if it was a mum and a daughter, I don't know. But sometimes she would feel like she doesn't want to hurt the child, hurt Matthew or hurt Ollie. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I do. I think Luca, it really depends on the situation. And it depends on, like, when one avenue of discipline isn't working, you're not out of choices.
What is the best avenue of discipline? You can't say it's subjective. There must be a sort of tried and tested way of disciplining your kids.
Yeah, discipline, actually, if you use the brain as the foundation of how you're going to discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, discipline means to teach.
Yes.
Not to punish.
Yes.
Or
it's a learning approach.
So when you say, what am I going to teach? How am I going to discipline? Think about the brain. There's the emotional part of the brain, in simplified terms, the fight, flight, and then there's the logical part of the brain. Your kids are mostly in their emotional and fight, flight part of the brain. If you're constantly approaching your kid with logic and getting frustrated with them for not understanding your logic, your discipline is not going to work. There's a proven methodology of connecting with their emotions and regulating them. So you have to actually be in a regulated brain state to learn, adult or child. If you're heated in an argument with your partner, with whoever.
Never happens.
No, because you're such a Buddha. But if that happens, that person or you're never going to reach the healthiest conclusion. So the quote unquote more proven way is bridge your brains. So you being the adult, bridge your brain to the child. Where are they? They're in the emotional part of the brain. You connect, you validate. Yes, definitely set boundaries. If it's about safety and physical safety, emotional safety. And then later, this is the part that parents get wrong. They think discipline is right now, in this moment, in this window.
It's a long-term play, right?
It's so long-term. Your right now objective is to calm the nervous system and get them moving out of that fight flight into a more regulated emotional brain. When they are there, typically like 30, 40 minutes later, depending on your kid, then you can introduce a bit of logic.
Yeah.
It's okay to be upset. I won't let you hit your brother.
So that's what we do within the whole concept of the naughty step, effectively, is when they do something bad or naughty, we put them for a timeout on the step, and they do sit there in real silence. After a few minutes, we come and speak to them, and we say to them, why are they on the naughty step? And then they'll say, because I hit Ollie, or because whatever the case is. So they understand, and then they say sorry, and then they make up, and then they carry on. As a technique, is that okay? Am I doing something terrible? Because tell me now, because it seems to be working very well.
Yeah.
As a deterrent, as a way also of a short-term way to calm them down and to build in some sort of regulated discipline.
Right. I would rebrand your naughty step.
Okay. What do we call it?
I would actually, so your objective is to soothe them.
Soothe.
Right?
Let them stop crying, soothe, so that then they can process, and then...
I usually recommend like a calm down space.
Okay.
Your objective is to do that. And your objective is to wire your kids, when a heightened emotion or experience happens, I need to regulate my body and then come back, right? So when you create a calm down space or a calm down stool, that's the objective. I need to calm down versus I did something bad, potentially I am bad.
Okay.
I need to sit here and then review the rehearsed lines that I know will bring me back.
So you know what Matthew does now? He tells Ollie, Ollie, you're being naughty. Go to the naughty step. Then he'll tell me, Daddy, Ollie's being naughty. Don't go to the naughty step.
So see, in our house, it's a little bit different. It's rebranded. Mommy, you're upset. Your voice is getting higher. You should go calm your body down.
Halas, we're going to rebrand, repackage.
It's marketing. It's all marketing.
Right, next ball. Love it.
All right. Okay, here. Are family roles earned, or are they given when forming a family dynamic?
So let's say, a child sometimes get labeled as, he's the rebellious one, or she's the smart one, or I don't know, they're the introvert, they're the extrovert. So are they actually earned? Do the kids actually grow into them? Or is that more of a top-down approach where the parents quick to label and then they kind of get stuck in this pigeonhole role within a family dynamic? I'll explain mine. So I'm the fourth, okay? I'm the youngest of four. And so I was always the baby of the family. I was always considered to be the one that was, I could get away with most things.
Right.
Because I was the youngest. And I could sort of stretch. And my other siblings would get upset because the rules didn't seem to apply to me because I was the youngest. So there was very much a top-down positioning of this person has this role in this dynamic. Or is it actually something that's earned, but can it also be changed and shifted over time as well? So there's a few questions within that.
Yeah.
Within that.
My first, the first thought I had when I read this is that labels are always given.
Yeah.
You can be something. You can be the golden child or the clown or the invisible child or whatever it is. But until you're labeled that by your adult, it doesn't really exist.
How dangerous is it to be labeled?
It's... Even with positive labels, to pigeonhole someone like that, I don't like it. And Sarah would say the same. It's not fair, not just to the child, but to the system, the family system and the way that it functions. Why? Because we need to be more fluid in our system. We can't just stay stuck in these roles and end up being on some level, not forced, but like we have this instinct, depending on our relationship with our parents, to either rebel against it or to stay in it. We need to create more fluidity. It has to be much more flexible. It's much healthier because when there is an external factor that comes to influence this system, your ability to adjust and blend and adapt depends on how fluid your internal system is. So if there's a big loss in the family, if there is an environmental crisis and you have to move houses, or if there's a new baby, or if there, for example, puberty is a big one that shifts a lot of things at home. How fluid you are and how dynamic you are is super important so that external factors don't influence. Yeah. And that also applies to things like adults pressuring kids or abuse or other things that can impact your inner circle. That comes from how you've been labeled and how you can challenge or unchallenge that role.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. If you're a middle child versus eldest child, but I know you're the second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Middle. So if you're eldest, middle, or youngest, how does that impact your own parent when you become a parent, and the role that you played in your own family dynamic?
That definitely impacts the way that you become as a parent,
Yes.
right? That impacts depending on how much you've worked on it or didn't.
So let's do the eldest. What are the traits that an eldest sibling, an eldest sibling would have when they become a parent? Because usually the eldest, the connotation are
Yes.
they're the most responsible.
Yes, they're the golden
They're
child.
yeah.
So typically a golden child who didn't break out of that golden child cycle will typically either want to, depending on their awareness of it, will want to impose that golden child perfectionism, whatever it is, onto their kids, or they'll completely try to break it. The second child, the clown or the invisible child, the way that you are labeled or identified does impact you. The only factor or the big factor that changes that is how aware you are of it. If you're not aware and you're operating on default mode, it's a program that's going to continue running and you're just going to pass that on to your kids and your family system because that's the only data and information you have and know. That's what kept you safe and alive, and this is the structure, and this is what needs to be done.
And the youngest?
The youngest, same. The youngest is typically the one that's the least disciplined, right? You're more free. You have the least rules and regulations. It might flip the opposite way, where because you are more free and because things turned out so well, it could be that you really want discipline and structure. It really depends on your psychology and it depends on your life experiences.
Okay. But generally speaking, pigeonholing or labeling kids from an early age, they can carry that as a scar throughout their entire life and carry that into their own parenting behavior with their own children.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I hate labels.
Were you labeled?
Yeah, of course I was.
What were you called?
I was labeled, actually as a very young kid, I was labeled as the angel. Like, oh, Karen, like she never creates any problems at home.
Can we talk about the irony? Because the name Karen is associated with not being an angel.
I hate my name so much. I swear sometimes people think I'm joking when I say, hi, this is Karen speaking, or yes, I'd like to, it's Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, the name Karen is not doing well right now. I think there were 0 Karens like registered
in the last 10
year,
years? Oh, okay.
Or in 2 years,
okay.
like 0.
They're dying out.
They're a dying breed.
Yeah, the last. Look, would you ever have more kids, or are you 2 and done, or?
Right now, two is okay.
Okay.
I prefer to be responsible in terms of where we are in life, what we can do, my capacity, my husband's capacity.
Okay.
So yeah.
Are you a good mom?
I think I am the best mom that I can be right now.
What would your daughter say? What's your name of your daughter?
Chloe.
Chloe. What would Chloe say if I was interviewing Chloe right now? She's in the hot seat. You're somewhere else. I said, Chloe, tell me about your mom. What do you like most about your mom?
I've actually asked her this. Have you asked your kids this?
They think I'm funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll always tell you something they love the most in that moment. So when I ask her, hey, what makes me a good mom for you? I asked her this 2 weeks ago. She said, you always help me with my feelings. Oh. With her dad, he always plays with me. Oh. What can I do to be a better mom for you? She said, I want to play more dolls with you. So she tells me she wants more playtime, more connection.
Lovely, love it.
Yeah. Is parenting more about wiring the child or rewiring the parent? My first thought, if I'm picking, it's rewiring the parent. Because by default, when you rewire yourself, the things you say, the way you act, your thoughts, the way that you are in life changes. And when that changes, it naturally oozes into your parenting. The more the environment changes, for example, the environment of a plant, the better quality sun, water, nutrients, the better it has stuff in its environment, the better quality plant it will be. Same with your kids. The better quality environment, you are the environment, you provide that, the better the more you rewire and work on yourself, the more natural those things that you want them to learn or unlearn from you, or those things come out.
Do you think it's sort of like it's poetic, or it's one of those things where by having kids, it forces you to rewire yourself?
You know, not everybody feels that. But yes, I think having children is a gift. It's a gift for your personal development and your growth, because your kids, unknowingly or knowingly, they remind you of the things that you're like, oh, I just did therapy for 5 years and I feel great. Let's have a kid. Kid comes and is like, oh, remember this wound right here that you forgot about? Or
It's coming back.
you got to work more on that. Your kids remind you of stuff. Remind you of stuff from your past, but also they help you mold the person that you want to become.
Exactly. So the reason why I said that last question was, I feel that because most parents in their 30s, sometimes 40s, but it's when I had Dr. Saliha on the show in season 3, and she talked about it being a sort of second adulthood, where we have a chance where nothing seems to connect anymore. You're not connected to certain things. People go through midlife type of crisis where they buy a new car, they change relationships because they don't feel connected anymore. But by having a kid, all of a sudden, it kind of forces you, in my opinion, to reassess your own life and kind of prompt you to try and change a few things. So it's sort of the perfect age in your 30s and 40s during that second adulthood, when you do have children. It's like life telling you, you know what, time for you to start changing what you're doing and to become a different type of person. And that's all about self-discovery and remembering who you really are.
I love that. Is that what happened with you?
Yeah. But it happened before. So I started seeing your mum. Pierre, if you're watching, not in that way. But I started seeing your mum after I had my kids, and I was leaving my job, and I was going through a bit of an unsettling period. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I realized that what I did, I wasn't connected anymore. And a lot of it was because of my limiting beliefs and childhood trauma. But by seeing your mum over a period of time, which I still am, I feel all of those little holes that I had are starting to get more and more filled up, so I feel more confident. And I'm able now, when I'm with my kids, to feel more confident as a parent. So it just happened to coincide. But I think most people in their 30s, late 30s, early 40s, during that second adulthood, it's a perfect aligning of the stars, where if you have children and you're feeling a little bit disconnected, if you do the work, you can break that cycle intergenerationally, and you can actually pass on better sort of teachings, if you like, to your children.
Yeah, I like that. But I like that you said if you're doing the work.
Yeah, you have to do the work.
You have to.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's heavy stuff.
We wrote this post on social media a little while ago. And it was inspired by, I think, a couple's therapist page that we follow. But it was like, the concept was, do you love your kids enough to do X, Y, and Z? Like, do you love your kids enough to work on yourself?
Yeah.
Do you love your kids enough to work on your triggers, to understand them more, to understand yourself more? Because we always say we'll die for our kids, and we would.
Yeah.
But how much do you love your kids? Like we love our jobs so much. I'm gonna do this training. I'm gonna learn how to financial model. I'm gonna learn all this stuff because I want to be better at my job. How much do you love your family and your kids to invest in that?
It's a great way of asking the right question and to sort of contextualize that versus other ways in which we invest our time and energy. So we do want to get better at our job because we do want to make more money.
Right.
We do want to become better parents, but are we doing the hard work to become better parents?
True.
And often, no. That's why I had another guy, a futurist who came on, John Sanek, brilliant guy, and he talked to me about how much money is being spent on the physical aspect, how we look, going to the gyms, fixing teeth, this X, Y, and Z, but how much money is being spent globally on fixing what's inside to become your true, authentic self. And the disparity between how much you're investing on everything else versus investing on yourself is huge.
Yes.
And if everyone sort of shifted that balance away, we'd not only become better people, but we'd become much better role models to our kids.
100%. I love that. Should a parent prioritize their own well-being first or their child's? Ooh,
So this is, this is kind of stemmed from the whole oxygen mask
I was
thing.
gonna say that's
Yeah.
my answer.
And because I had Dr. Saliha again in that chair, and I asked her the same question. So what's your take? Should the parents prioritize their own self to become their best version of themselves, or should they prioritize their kids?
I would say themselves. Just like the rewiring answer. If you are not well, your kid's well-being is not
Do you know why I know you're telling the truth? It's because you're literally carrying a child right now.
that gives me credibility.
Yeah, because you've got so many emotions and hormones going crazy, and yet you still say that. So at your most emotional self, you're still saying.
I say that because
So Chloe and you, okay?
Yeah.
Who gets the oxygen mask first?
me, if I pass out, who's gonna help Chloe? That's the idea, right?
That's what they say. That's the textbook answer.
And I'll give you an example of what it looks like in real life, like in parenting. There was a phase where I was getting so annoyed with my daughter. Everything she was doing was like, why is she against me? Why is she pushing this boundary? Why can't she be more compliant? Why can't she? It was focused on her. The minute, I promise you, the minute I looked at how I am contributing to this behavior, the minute I reflected on, okay, we're two sides of a coin, what's wrong with my side? The minute I started doing that and working on myself, my approach, my language, my feeling, that behavior disappeared.
Yeah.
The minute you work on yourself, the minute your well-being is stable and steady, your kids will match that. In our class, we explain this as you are the thermostat of your household. Whatever temperature you set, the room adjusts to it. If you are hot and heated and you're not okay, your kids are going to be hot, heated, and not okay. If you are okay and you're breathing, you can support your kids to breathe. You can give them the oxygen mask.
What about if one of the parents is hot and heated, and the other is cold and standoffish? How does that impact the child? And
So if we're talking about it,
two parents are very different in terms of their behavior patterns.
we get this a lot, actually. There are parents that'll have different parenting approaches. One that's, let's say, more old school in their approach, and one that's maybe, let's say, more modern. Let's use that as an example. The more stability in the household, the better. So the more that you can work together as a couple and align on your goals and objectives, the better it is for the environment of the child, because there's predictability. Why do I say predictability? Predictability or unpredictability sets off your fight or flight.
Yeah, one makes you feel secure, one makes you feel
insecure.
Yep.
So if your environment is unpredictable, if there's no routine, for example, that routine that you build with your kids, that's predictability. If there is no predictability, your brain's job is to keep you alive. So what does it do? It stays in fight, flight, freeze. If you're operating in that brain state, you're never really going to be super regulated.
Yeah, and high anxiety.
Exactly. So the more you can work together and create a stable environment for your kids, the better. However, your kids are going to learn who is that safe person for me in this aspect and who is not. So when it comes to attachment, the psychological attachment of a child, they'll have different attachment styles to different adults in their life. And that really depends on the adult.
Single parents, how tough is it on the parent, but what's the implication longer term for the child? And how likely are they going to then grow up and develop issues with the relationships?
It depends on the way the single parent parents them. We've had many single parents join our program. We've coached many of them. And they put on their oxygen mask first, right? If you're doing the best that you can and you're working on yourself, your kids are going to be fine. They don't need to have, both parents. Ideally, if we're talking about the psychology and the attachment of a child, the more safe, securely attached adults they have in their life, the better it is for the kids. But not all societies and cultures allow for that now. No. If they just have one, that single parent, then that is very good.
And it's more important for it to be the mother than the father, I'm guessing.
I wouldn't be able to answer that, actually. As long as there's that one person that they can attach to. What is worse, setting a boundary that's not enforced or never setting a boundary?
As a parent, you can set a boundary and they just never adhere to. Versus a parent who never sets a boundary.
The reason I say that is because the result is the same thing. The result is the child runs the house. The child is the boss. The child is the leader.
No, that's my wife.
So the result is the same. There is no boundary. So whether you say, you have to switch off the TV, you have to switch off the TV, you have to switch off the TV.
See, I would think it's a parent who sets a boundary that's not enforced. That's worse.
Why?
Because they're not. It's like they've given up themselves. So it's a bigger reflection on who they are, versus not being informed enough to set a boundary themselves. So they have it's an awareness issue.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean. I see it in a slightly different way. Like I understand that there's something in them that they have given up versus never having it at all.
Exactly, yeah. So setting a boundary and then not letting it be enforced, they're giving up.
Yeah.
Right, which says a lot about who they are as a person versus never setting a boundary, which says a lot of them as a person, but maybe it's due to lack of information.
This is, for me, Luca, this is permissive in both aspects. Permissive parenting, which means that whatever you say is not followed, no follow through. Even if you leave something, it's the same. If I say you have to do this and I don't enforce it, it's the same as never saying it in the first place.
Is gentle parenting becoming too gentle?
I love that you said that. This is a huge debate that Sarah and I love to bring up. And yes, I think it's becoming too focused on the word gentle and not enough focus on the word parenting. Parenting needs to have some authority.
It should just be called parenting, because parenting should be gentle. It should also be this. It should be like my mum used to always say, everything in moderation, right? You shouldn't have too much of one thing.
Yes.
So by definition, parenting should be gentle as well as other things.
You know, before it was rebranded as gentle parenting or positive parenting or respectful parenting, its initial branding or title was authoritative parenting. Where there is boundaries and flexibility, where there is respect and space for feelings. So it is that dynamic. The original intention of gentle parenting was that. However, because of information overload and because of this awareness of the lack of our, capacity for emotions when we were kids, that soup or that combination created an overly gentle era. Too much emotion, not enough boundary setting. Too much validation, not enough containment.
Again, the key word is too, right? Too much.
Too much.
Too much of anything is bad.
100%.
So my mom was right.
Everything
in moderation.
Right. My mom was like, you didn't used to have this many feelings as a child. I'm like, well, that's a different
I got
thing.
issues, Mom.
I don't remember you throwing a tantrum like this. I'm like, well, I do,
Where was your dad in all of this?
Oh, my dad, so...
Saudi. He was in Saudi most of the time, or
yeah,
you were there with him? Or?
We were, like, my dad was in and out. My mom carried the biggest load with 4 kids. But when my dad would parent, like when my dad was there, it was like all of a sudden it's my opportunity to discipline.
Yeah.
Like not even the positive teaching method. It was like, where do I set my rules? And it's just like, whoa.
Just alpha male
100%.
from that generation.
So that was that was the instability for us.
I'll get him. Well, I'll ask him these questions when he comes on the show.
Oh, he's so
Season
accountable
5.
for it, though.
Is he?
He feels so. He's like, I did the best that I could. Well, I know, Dad.
By the way, you look more like your dad than your mum.
Really?
I've been looking at you. I would give you more Pierre than Zaina right now.
Well, I think both my parents are beautiful, so thank you. Do the parents teach the child, or the child that teaches the parent, or is the child that teaches the parent? First thought, I feel it's the child that teaches the parent.
Really?
I feel like they teach us so much more than what we teach them. The reason I say that is because we think we're coming in with so much more experience and ammo and knowledge and yeah, we are. We have so much more than life experience. We have so much more life experience. But I think if I'm, let's say, weighing that in a scale, when our kids come in and remind us...
That's the word.
Yeah.
The word is remind. For me, it's the word is remind.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is kids help us remind. We give them something new.
Yes.
So we teach the kids new, but they remind us of our old.
Yes, and for me personally.
That's that balance.
Yeah. The remembering or the reminding, if you're weighing it like this, it's heavier.
Yeah.
And the new stuff, you can always add new stuff, but it's lighter to the scale.
Yeah. And when it's remembering, because it's over a period of 30, 40 years, there's a lot to remember.
Yeah, it's a lot of baggage.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. And the way I would phrase it is reminding versus
new. I like that. Okay, authentic parenting, driven by conscious intention or subconscious programming. Ooh, I would definitely say it's more conscious than subconscious. If you're
authentic.
If you're being authentic.
Yeah, that's the key word that you picked up. Authentic parenting is from the conscious brain.
I agree. Because authentic means being true to the self.
Exactly.
And to break the subconscious, you need a lot of conscious effort of the subconscious.
Yeah.
So yeah, conscious.
There we go. Nice and easy.
Last one. Parenting with your values or value modern parenting methods.
So should you parent with your values or should you apply modern parenting values?
Modern parenting methods. Because modern parenting methods...
What are they? And also explain them as well.
Okay. So when you parent with your values, the way in which you parent can differ. The modern parenting methods, you're supposed to still hold on to those values, but the way that you parent, so the execution of that is different. For example, let's talk about respect. Respect was a big one in the Middle East, let's say. To respect your elders, to speak respectfully. The method in which we were taught this value was do as I say.
Yeah.
With,
authority.
You respect me.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean? We were never taught. What does that mean? You're speaking so rudely to me. You're undermining me. You're punishing me, humiliating me. What is respect? I'm supposed to do this thing, this definition, this word, but what is that? Show it to me. The modern parenting method has respect, but it's a boundary that is set respectfully, right? It is the way that you speak. It is the way that you model it. It is the way you show respect to others when you go out, when you're at the supermarket, when someone is taking your order. It is the way you parent. Are you parenting respectfully or are you disrespecting your child? That is the way that I'm talking about. That's the method that I'm talking about. So if I had to pick, it would definitely be the modern methodologies. But the reason it's hard is because I really believe in family values or cultural values. I believe that those are the anchors for our home, especially if you have differing approaches.
So parents, Eastern culture, Western culture. Who's a better parent?
Different values.
I know.
Western cultures, for example, there have been several studies looking at things like that. Western cultures value more individualistic things. And so a person's behavior becomes more individualistic in their nature. Me first and then others. Eastern cultures are more, they're more communal. There's a lot more togetherness. That is a big value. However, if you're comparing the two, you need to be whole as an individual to contribute positively to this community. Which one is better? Depends on your goal. If your goal is to do me, I want to do me, I want to be the best version of me, and me, and that's a good thing for you. But for other cultures, it's not conducive to that. It does not make sense if you are not contributing to this family, to this society, to this group. So which one is better? I don't know. I know what feels better for me. You probably have one that feels better for you.
But can a child determine who's the better parent?
What do you mean?
Yeah. So let's say husband and wife,
Hmm.
they come from two different families, different ways of being brought up in terms of parenting. And they'll apply or not apply certain techniques, approaches to their child. When you have a kid, the kid will learn from both, right? Mm-hmm. But is the child able to determine who's the better parent and who brings a better parenting style? Because if you were to think about it from your own perspective, who's a better parent, your mum or your dad? You will both say they both bring something different, generally speaking. But if you were to hold them in isolation, can a kid ever say, you know what, my mum was a much better parent than my dad was? And vice versa.
I feel like my answer is on some level, yes. And the reason I say that is because for a child, the better parent is the safe parent. So whoever can bring that safety, that stability, that consistency, and now in modern day parenting, it's becoming both.
Yeah.
Whoever can do that feels like the better parent to the child.
I'm glad I asked that question because that's a really important insight you just sent.
I mean, that's what kids want in the end.
Yeah.
They want to feel safe, seen, soothed.
You know, parents, we always worry about our kids, and we always worry about making money to pass on to them, giving them the best experiences, the best education, living in the best house. We do everything that we can to provide a better life for them.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is, though, is that kids, all they care about, they don't care what car their mum and dad drives. They don't care what house they live in. They don't care about if they have a speedboat or not. You know, what they care about is spending time with their mum and dad.
Yeah.
That's all a kid really wants, is to hang out with their parents.
That is what they want.
We spend all of our life as adults trying to give them something that they haven't really asked for. And looking back on all those people who, you know, on their deathbed, they're looking back at their life, they always say the same thing. They wish to spend more time with their children or their loved ones, not spending more time developing and working on a career so they can leave a bigger legacy of wealth to their children. Because kids don't care about that.
It's true.
When my parents, God forbid, when that day suddenly comes, I'm not going to say, God, I wish they left me more money or more assets. But I'll look back on the time that we spent together. So I always want us to sort of, as adults and parents, to sort of put ourselves in the mindset of what our children actually want and what they need. And you talked about security and talked about safety, but also enjoying time together.
Yeah.
Right? Versus trying to spend 80% of your working week outside, being away from them to provide for something that they never get to actually enjoy with you.
That's so true. Your kids only want you. That's what they want.
That's it.
I think we're just so plugged into the matrix sometimes.
I have a final ball for you.
No.
It's blank.
Hidden, discreet.
There's nothing on it. So you get to share any insight that you would love to share that you think is important for parents or kids or whoever, or you get to ask any question to me. So you have two choices.
When in doubt of anything, your child's behavior, what to do, always go to connection. Connection isn't an extravagant, we're going to this playground or I'm going to take you here. Connection is in the micro moments of your everyday life. It's not sitting for a 1 hour session always to play with your kid. It's in the moments in the car where you remind them that they're loved. It's when they're really, really upset that you're able to soothe them. Those moments of connection are everything, especially in the early years. So when you're unsure of what to do or how to change something, how to adjust a behavior, connect. And then just a reminder that not every moment is a parenting moment. It's okay to let things go. Sometimes feel like this is a moment that I have to discipline and teach in. No, it's okay. Let them go. If you're doing the work to support them outside of those moments, let them slide. Connect and let them go. And can I ask you a question?
Sure, go for it.
What's your favorite thing about being a parent? Like, how has it, and not about how it's impacted your kids, how has it changed you as a person?
Look, I have an enormous amount of pride for my kids when they do something, like landmark stuff. Like when we're potty training Ollie, he's 2 at the moment. He's doing, like he went to say, I need to go make pee-pee. Like I was so proud in that moment that we were able to sort of help him move on to the next level. So I'm proud of myself for having sort of instilled some level of learning with my kids, if something small or not. When they do something, I get a huge sense of accomplishment and achievement. I appreciate my parents much more. more than I ever did when you become a parent. So my relationship with my mum and dad has also changed, and I see them in a different light. And because I've been doing a lot of work with your mum on my development, I feel that I'm able to enjoy things more than I probably would have done. So I enjoy being with my kids for a limited period of time. They still irritate me after a long time of just constant crying and nagging, right? I'm not a perfect parent. After an hour of them asking me the same ridiculous question, Daddy, why? Like, I go nuts, but in that, before they've done that, I generally enjoy that time with them. But I also need to remember that I need to have my own time as well. So I've learned a lot of things. It's not one thing. So how I see my parents, how I see myself, my sense of pride and achievement with my kids when they do something, but remembering to take my own time out as well. So yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, a bit of everything.
So in summary, are you a good parent? To go back to the original question.
I still think I get a passing grade.
Yeah.
I think that I have a high ceiling because I like to think of myself as having quite high EQ. The challenge I have is that I don't want to pass on too much of what I was taught. So I'm always conscious of like, is this what I was taught, or is this actually coming from me? So it's that learning of, is this my authentic self saying this stuff to my kids, or is it just some previous memory from my mom or my dad that I'm just passing on without a filter?
I love that.
So I have a high awareness state of that. So I know I can still improve because it shouldn't be. I should be fully authentically parenting from a conscious level. I still feel some of my subconscious is parenting. And
I think that's natural and normal, because breaking a subconscious program that we've built over how many years?
Yeah, a long time.
Very long time.
I'm quite old, Karen, where can people find you to find more information about The Wise Parents? What do they need to do?
They can head over to our Instagram, The Wise Parent. They can visit our website, thewiseparent.org, and they can email us at info@thewiseparent.org.
I love it. Perhaps maybe not now because you're about to pop.
I have a business partner.
There you go. Look, I hope the pregnancy goes well.
Thank you.
Do think about the name Luca. It's a good name.
It is one of my favorites.
I will want photos later, so please send them through.
I will.
And give your best to your parents.
Thank you, I will.
They're very special people. On that note, guys, please like, subscribe, drop comments, say what you like. Thank you for watching Luca's Inside Track, and hopefully we'll see you very, very soon.